Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Thursday, October 28th. We're going to take a look at SoFi today. Now, I've had to restart this video a few times, and I'm running out of time, so I'm going to try to be succinct and to the point, not my strong suit. But in any case, this is SoFi on the intraday today, and basically had this bit of an uncontrollable run up this morning. I suspect a sympathy play based on Lending Club's earnings that they profited greatly from today. But then it just kind of pinned itself to the VWAP, and I have somewhat of a suspicion that this is leading into tomorrow, which, as you know, is Friday. We have a bunch of $20 call options, 11,500 now, which could very well increase significantly tomorrow. And I think it could very well be sort of like a lure, right? Luring in folks to $20 call options that market makers will then make every effort to expire out of the money. And so pinning it so close to that strike toward the end of close today, and also making it appear, like it's holding up this strength relatively well. It could just be a bit of a bull trap, but I mean, we'll have to see. And also, there are extrinsic factors out there. There could be something that market makers don't see, aren't aware of, that comes out tomorrow or before market open, or something that heavily influences the price, and it could sort of get out of their control, but you never know. Speaking of Lending Club, had a really nice reaction to earnings, up over 32% today, and was much higher than that. Well, not much higher, but it was higher than that at certain points. But it did a really good job, honestly, holding this strength. It's a pretty impressive, sideways range movement from such a big run up after market hours, or after close last night. We do see last time that they had this big gap up, they had over 47% to the upside and continued to run up and still gapped up this much after this earnings. So quite significant. And this count is still coming in assuredly, but under 19 million in volume today, which is quite different from the over 41 million in volume last time. So that's pretty interesting. Now, we also didn't get as much of a sympathy play last time. Not that this was like an incredible feat today, but July 28th, around here, yeah, July 28th, plus 3%, and then plus 1.5% on the 29th, and they had their big run on the 29th. So yeah, we picked up like a 1.5%. So we like doubled that this time around. That may indicate just sort of like familiarity with stock. Maybe it's just more folks are aware of it, more folks are familiar with SoFi, and so it's getting some additional sympathy at this point. I don't 100% know, but purple box, staying off the purple box at the moment. I spoke about last night why I think that that's important, but we see volume kind of trailing off here. I do start to really wonder if folks, knowing that the reaction to earnings last time was so severe, if they are going to play it quite cautiously going into earnings, and there may not be a run-up if there's not some additional catalyst or news to help push it that way. So to me, like, nothing's really changed on the daily. But speaking of the daily, flip over here. So our friend of the channel, Wayne, if you recall, Wayne is the one who called and spoke to, I think her name is Dina, who's general counsel, I think, at SoFi. I can't remember. You could go back and watch the video, like IR Speaks or something like that. And then also spoke to the investor relations person who a lot of folks had email exchanges with, and then provided us a transcription-ish thing of the answers that he got. So this is from him. He shared this to sort of support what I showed in, I think, yesterday's video, which was the cup and handle formation, which my chart is just too messy to endure at this point. But here you see this green cup, right? And then the handle. And so it could be really significant timing that there's technical factors coming together along with earnings that hopefully don't have such a bad reaction to this time, as well as the looming bank charter news. So if these things kind of get dropped within a time frame that this trend formation is still taking shape or is still well intact, I could certainly see it producing an outsized reaction. Now I know that the flip side of that coin is it's run up from like 13.56 here up over $20, and so that increase has priced in a bunch of these things. I don't know. It's just going to depend on, speculation wise, speculatively speaking, is probably going to depend on your trust in or your belief in technicals playing out, right? Because if you see this formation, you're like, ooh, okay, that does look relatively clear. Then there's that. And if you're just sort of like, no, I think they've priced in a bunch of this news, and I think it's more heavily pegged to news related catalysts, then, you can be taking that stance. But I just wanted to share that and thank Wayne for sending that over. Now, let's give old Ortex a refresh just to make sure. So we're getting more into the 1 month range now as it's rolling. That's, getting closer to flat. Like it's not up like 30-something% like we would have seen a few days ago. So starting to get some distance from that. And, this puts the return potential target still higher. Now I'm hoping that there's analysts that are just kind of sitting on sidelines waiting to see what happens at earnings. And then they come in relatively quickly after earnings with some additional, hopefully, overweight and buy ratings coming in at higher price targets. That's obviously my hope, but we'll have to see. But I'm hoping they're just kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting for that, is my assumption. Not a lot has changed with the short interest down slightly today. Ortex estimating 8.06% of the free float is shorted. Utilization under 24. Cost to borrow now under 1. Days to cover still under 2, 1.84. But that's one of the ones that I'm watching pretty closely to see if the pylon may be starting at some point. I don't know. But, the reaction that Lending Club gods, even though they have a history of having a good reaction, may also sort of keep some of the shorts at bay. I don't know. But just something to sort of, think about, consider. If you want to check out my Twitter, it's just at Dan_Coyle. That is in the description below. I put out last night, you'll have to scroll back a little bit, but last night I put out a 4-image post of Lending Club's previous earnings reaction, exactly how it broke down based on the Fibonacci levels. So, and I know this is a SoFi video, but just the extent that folks are also trading other things, if you wanted to look at that and sort of keep an eye on it to see if it follows any similar patterns. I don't know if it will, but it's something to sort of like maybe test out and be interested to see what happens, if it does follow anything kind of closely or if it's totally different. Who knows? All right, folks, I got to wrap this up, but I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.